It's our first wake up in Puerto Rico, off to Toa Baja. We arrived in Toa Baja. We were expecting to come there and do a lot of work, but we were also greeted with a lot of reminders of the work that was already done. There's a lot of natural wonders in Puerto Rico, and reminders of some of the natural devastation as Hurricane Maria came through and devastated this area. When we went into the church, it was beautiful. Definitely God's place, and the people that were around there knew that we were there to share God's love, or at least do our best. I really like the geckos in the area, and there's tons of them everywhere. I may not want to live amongst them, but I can vacation with them once in a while. They were always fun to find in the foliage or in the cracks of the buildings. They were everywhere. The steeple raised high above this area, and people could see this as a beacon of hope, place of prayer. The wildlife just presented so many different neat and interesting things to look at here.
To be here. It's great to be here.
Buenavidos, welcome. And we did feel welcome. Not just by Pastor Alicia, but I think we also felt welcome from a lot of reminders of things that were very familiar to us. Although we're in a completely unfamiliar setting, at least the ones who hadn't been there before, it was nice. You walk through your front door of a church and you see the pews and you see the baptismal font, you see the cross, but not just the cross. You see the faces of the people who believe the same way that you believe, or at least are coming to that same belief. And you know that you're here to do God's work to help out our other fellow humankind. And that's where it begins, the work. Walked into this room right off of the church, and if you look at this wiring, it certainly doesn't fit many codes that we're familiar with. Open Romax just kind of wandering amongst their storage, coming up through slots in the wall, running behind fire extinguishers. OSHA would have a field day with this if this was a factory setting. And this is a crew that was there before us, and it's on Pastor Alicia's desk. Now watch these benches here. We're going to come back to these later on in the video. Whoop, and there's another gecko. Okay, so now it's time to assess the work. We're given a list of a lot of priorities of the things that wanted us to get done that week. So we made our trek over to the house that we were going to work at. Jeff and I were there. We were checking out the neighborhood and the residents. A lot of resident cats. This is the house that we were going to work on this week. One of them. Now it's time to go to Toa Baja to check out our other location. Baja is Spanish for short, alta, tall. So we're up in the mountains now. Naturally, it's not flooded up here, and the damage wasn't from the flooding, but it was from the massive amount of rains that come with a hurricane too. Us being Midwesterners, we probably lose sight of some of the drastic effects that could happen. So we got up on top of the roof to assess the damage. Now, there was a crew that worked on this a couple weeks before us, and they sealed part of it, but sometimes when you seal a roof, it takes a second try, because there's always spots that flood or things pucker, and you can see the white epoxy on top here. It's interesting. It is a nice neighborhood, and this couple is a very nice couple. They owned a cleaning business, I believe, for 29 years, but he suffers from dementia. And there's some evidence around, maybe some hoarding and some other stuff that hasn't been as well kept, as that process has been oncoming for some time. Pastor Alicia lives in Toa Alta, and Sean had a project that he wanted to look at with her. As we came back down the mountain, I had an opportunity to take some pictures or video of this cemetery where everybody's buried basically above ground, entombed. It's different. It's a different way of living. Back at the church, there's other work crews going and getting tools maybe an inventory or getting them sorted so we know what we have to work with. We're grateful to have these tools as they've been donated by your generosity to help support this project for PR2PR. We're grateful for having good tools so it makes the work a little easier. Some of the crew's outside and getting stuff done and making plans for the next day as things are wrapping up. Remember these benches? Great job, Harry. It was evening and we gathered back at one of the condos where we could enjoy each other's company and have some devotion time, talk about the ones that are there and the ones we missed. We're missing you tonight, Roger.
Say hi, Roger.
Glenn, say hi, Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Hi, Roger. We miss you.
Hi, Roger.
Roger, happy
Hey,
89.
Yeah. Hey, Roger. Take care.
Hi, Roger. You're missing it.
Hi, Roger. It's too bad you're not here.
Wish you were here, Roger.
We could have really used you here. Your smile.
But Roger, what does it really mean to be on a mission? Think about that. What does it really mean to be on a mission?
I can
We miss you, Roger. We'll talk to you soon. Alas, evening devotions where we can sit here and reflect on our day and talk about our experiences. It's nice to share. It's nice to be a part of that. It's nice to be amongst company and familiar faces and know that we're doing the right things. Makes for a fun vacation. And if you get an opportunity to go on a PR2PR trip, I highly recommend it. And if you don't get to go on a PR2PR trip, I recommend that you help out and give to it because it does change lives. I know it changed mine.